Oh, don't adjust your dials. We are back, baby. It is in this very ring. It is a very special in this very ring. It is the in this very ring after Mania. Hashtag it. We're going to use it all night long. It is the Raw after WrestleMania just ended. WrestleMania weekend is over. And we said, you know what? Nah. We are not going to do a recorded show. We are going to be live and in color for the whole world to see right after Raw goes off the air. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And joining me as he does each and every single week, the mayor of Toasty Town. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Butter.
Yee-hoo! Yeah.
We are live for the first time in months on Facebook and YouTube. It is good to be back. And let me tell you, I have so much to talk about from this weekend. Like, I almost took over the channel last night. Had everybody responded to me in a relatively quick manner, I was ready to walk upstairs, turn this camera on, because I watch downstairs, like I do every WrestleMania. Walk upstairs, turn this camera on, and just start yelling, screaming, hollering, complaining, bitching, all of it. I was so flabbergasted at the end of WrestleMania last night. We do have some special guests coming to join us. Well, Pete will be on. And then we have a special guest coming to join us in just a little bit. But we wanted to get right into things. And the topic that's on everybody's mind, right? Obviously, we just saw the ending with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and the addition of Braun Breaker as now a Paul Heyman guy. And yeah, you kind of get that, right? You get that there's going to be a tag match coming in the near future, which is fine. But everybody is talking about John Cena's 17th title win at WrestleMania in what some are saying was a lackluster main event. Some others are saying it was absolutely perfect. There are some of us that are just confused at how we got here. Butters, I want to throw it to you because this is the first WrestleMania, I think, since the pandemic that you and I did not watch both nights together. Obviously, Easter Sunday, you had some family things to do. And so I have no idea coming into this show what your takeaway from last night is. So take me back to last night. Travis Scott comes down to the ring.
Screw Travis Scott. I hate that bastard.
Everything
was great until that moment.
So walk me through it. Walk me through how it's going on.
Like, Cena did what he said what he was going to do. He wasn't going to give us jack squat. He come out with a lackluster, so to speak. It was just all black entrance. He wrestled Cody. He took home the belt, which I was happy for because I was rooting for Cena, unlike, some people. Everybody rooting for Cody. I was rooting for Cody last year, yes, but this year was Cena. It's his last year. I'm rooting for him all the way.
Mark.
You damn Skippy.
Child.
But I thought it could have been better. Night one's main event blew it out of the water. Way the hell out of the water.
Well, and obviously we'll dive into it as Chrome and Butter and Pete jump on. Lynch, it's good to see you again, buddy. It's been a long time. He said WrestleMania sucked. Why? Obviously, guys, we are each and every show. We're live. Hit us up in those comments, Facebook, YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. Let the world know your boys are back. Tyler Lewis said Uso is trash. Mid-card Jey Uso. I want to save the Cena, until Chrome and Pete get here. I kind of want to save the Cena thing, and I want to really talk about this right here. Jey Uso. Main event Jey Uso. The match that kicks off WrestleMania night one, Uso versus Gunther. They went 16 minutes and 30 seconds, and they really set the tone. And what was surprising with this match was you had Jey Gunther tap out to Jay, to Gunther's own sleeper hold.
Quickly, mind you.
Rather quickly. It was after several spears, several splashes, the power bomb, right? First of all, Tyler's my guy. He's a fantastic individual, and I'm gonna shout. Oh no! I'm gonna shout him out. He is a performer at Two Tones Piano Bar in the Woodlands, Texas. If you're in the Houston area, you definitely have to go shout them out. No, this is not a paid advertisement. It is truly something. They are incredible. Dueling shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Karaoke Wednesday. Karaoke after the shows Friday and Saturday. They do a family-friendly show once a month. The list goes on of the different things they do. Definitely check them out. Two Tones Dueling Piano Bar in the Woodlands. And I have to say that Tyler and I have talked a lot lately about this. And while I was very much the mindset of Jey Uso's not ready, the storyline's not good, we're not getting to where we want to be. Back 2 weeks ago, when you had, I think at this point 4 weeks ago, you had Gunther attack Jimmy, and you saw that different side of Jey, especially in the promo the following week. And so you got to see Gunther, a different side to Gunther. You got to see a different side to Jey. Going into the match, right? Jey had all the momentum in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Really exposed Gunther. 2 times WrestleMania, back-to-back years. Can't hold on to his title. When the lights are the brightest, you can't get the job done. Well, now, here we are 48 hours later, and you have a really awkward segment with Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Jimmy Uso in the ring on the Raw.
It really was awkward.
It was like, hey, if you feel like kicking his teeth down his throat, go ahead and do it. But if you don't, that's okay too. We'll just send Jimmy out there.
I was honestly expecting Sami to kick his teeth down his throat. I'm not gonna lie.
There were multiple scenarios, but then I was also expecting Roman to come out. Right now, granted, it makes sense Roman coming out, later on in the night, and we'll get to that when the boys get on. It was you definitely laid the groundwork for something here. Maybe a triple threat between the three of them, something. The Godfather of HUD Radio, Mr. Tom Arnone is here.
Whoop, whoop. What's up, Tom?
The boss. And he wants to know what we thought about the weekend. I will say.
I love the weekend.
I have not had that much fun. Granted, I think the first year we went live was probably our best year. Like the first year downstairs with the big massive setup and everybody on the panels both nights. That is still to this day a probably top 3 moment on this broadcast for me. But also just being able to sit and enjoy WrestleMania this year, and literally 11 and a half hours of programming on Saturday, 9 hours of programming on Sunday, the Hall of Fame Friday night, Saturday morning, I should call it, Raw tonight. I mean, it was nonstop WWE. So I want to bring in Mr. Pete Evans. Pete is a little under the weather, so it is going to be just Pete's audio this evening because he was not going to miss this show. And so big props to the OGP of ATV, Mr. Pete Evans. He is here. Pete, buddy,
Petey!
First of all, what do you think of the weekend as a whole? Let's answer Tom's question.
How does my audio sound?
You sound good.
Okay. Cool.
Honestly, it might be better than your weekly audio.
No, screw you. A little under the weather. I would say COVID is more than under the weather, but I'll put it out there.
I wasn't going to put it out there for you.
It is what I just don't know where I caught the shit. That's the problem. But weekend as a whole, if I'm giving it, we won't do grades. Let's do a scale of 1 to 10. I would say are we counting SmackDown, both nights of Mania, and what we saw tonight?
Yeah, I think you have to because they're counting and Stand and Deliver. Don't forget Stand and Deliver too.
Yeah, Stand and Deliver, right? I would say 7 out of 10, but six of those 7 are coming from night 1 and tonight.
Yeah, I was coming off of night 1. I was really amped for night 2. I was just through the moon. Well, all right, but see, I'm a Hall of Fame guy, right? Mm-hmm. And so coming out of the Hall of Fame, even though it was 3:30 in the morning, and then having 11 and a half hours of wrestling on Saturday, while it was a lot, it was enjoyable. And then you get to Sunday, and you have all that build up for Sunday, and you have all that anticipation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that we have a lot of top tier matches on Sunday. I would have said going into the main event, I'm an 8.5 out of 10. That main event, the way that it played out, and so many just what the hell did we just watch? Probably dropped it down to a 7 for me overall. And then tonight, I was, I missed the Intercontinental title match because I wanted to get ready for the show, take a shower, everything like that. I will say that this brought it back up to that 8. They were able to really recover a lot tonight, which was almost expected.
Mm-hmm.
Don saying, "What's up, Pistons in 5? Hey, I miss y'all, boys. We miss you too, Don. We're not gone. We just get dropped on Tuesday afternoons. Normally, we're recording this, and so we don't have y'all in the chat, and it's not off the rails. And so I have missed this. I have missed us being live, but I really want to wait for Chrome. Chrome is on his way.
Okay.
Before we start talking about Cena Rhodes. How do we feel about? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
How do we feel about what we just saw, though? Seth Rollins come down to the ring. We don't get any answers.
Right.
Right. Punk immediately comes out. And I even texted you guys. I was like, well, so much for those answers.
Yeah.
Right. There's the brawl that happens between Punk and Rollins. Rollins lays him out. Roman Reigns comes down. Massive spear from Roman. Right. Rollins rolls out of the ring, and then Roman just gets drilled by the torpedo that is Braun Breaker.
Yep.
And it was one of those spears where as soon as Breaker hit him, like he was covered, the hoodie, everything like that, you knew it was Braun. And Braun Breaker revealed to align himself with Seth and Paul Heyman. He's now a Paul Heyman guy. How do we feel about Breaker being a Paul Heyman guy? And Chrome's here. This is perfect. This is fantastic. So let's go around the room real quickly, and then we're going to dive right into the Cena Road stuff. I wanted to wait for Chrome to get here, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys can see it. I had to. I said it last week when it was just me, Pete, and Chrome. I had the shirt ready. I had to rep Birds of a Feather for you guys.
Oh, with the WrestleMania 31 shirt there, sir.
Oh, little flex there. Little.
Oh yeah. It's from when I went to 31. Yeah.
Ooh. How do we feel about Braun Breaker joining up with Rollins and Heyman?
Oh, I entirely enjoyed it. I think it's a good move for him after moving on from the IC title. It gives him a little bit of, something to do now. It gives him a couple people to learn from and grow.
Grow.
Yeah, I think, it's kind of been talked about a while, right? Like, what does Braun really need? And I don't want to say that he's not good at talking, but I think a mouthpiece with notoriety was something we've talked about for a long time that would really help him catapult him to the next level. And really, if you watch McAfee today, obviously Paul Heyman was on there. They asked him and they said, hey, what happens if Seth isn't around and you need protection? And he said, I may have a couple aces up my sleeve, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Or something about spending money to add to the payroll, something along those lines. So you kind of had an idea something was coming. I'm not surprised by who it is, and I like it. I think it's a good matchup.
Pete?
I agree. So I think the actual comment was one of the hosts was saying that, or he's like, "Are you offering to be my backup?" He's like, "I don't think you need me." He's like, "I concur with that statement."
Austin
He's like,
Connor.
"Yeah," but he was like, Heyman said, I am looking at potential guys," and actually, the crowd started barking. So it was kind of, and Heyman really didn't say anything. I like it, right? I love it, and proverbially, you give him the mouthpiece, but you give him the shield, and him having Seth in front of him. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like, and we kind of talked about this before off air. Like this is the opportunity for Seth to have his version of evolution. This is his opportunity to have his version of whatever this stable may be, and him be the head, right? And this is kind of like, out of all the guys that Heyman has had, this is probably fits that bill as the, I don't want to say chicken shit, but like that mental, dirty, like this obnoxious heel leader. And right now it's playing so well. The visual of Braun and Seth in the ring, standing over Punk and Roman, who now have to align. And I don't think they're done. I kind of got a sneaky feeling on who's next, because you need a big guy. And we'll see from there. But I love it. And to kind of segue into our next topic, they did all this and they sprung it on us, kind of, right, quote unquote. It's amazing what the other side of that coin is with Cena and Rhodes. How can you do this, and then you give us that? And then I'll give the floor back to you, host.
Real quickly before we move on, because I do want to get to Cena. I've been waiting for you guys for 17 minutes now, huh? 17. Where's the irony? How much of this screams Dangerous Alliance to you guys?
I felt it from the beginning.
So I was gonna say, right.
For those of you that don't know,
it could be this. Yeah.
Real quick, for those of you that don't know, that was the name of Paul Heyman's original group way back in '87 in the AWA and WCW.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Rude was a part of that. Stunning Steve Austin was a part of it. Larry Zbyszko was a who's who.
It was Arnie Anderson was in it for a bit too.
Yeah, yep. I only want it if it's called the Dangerous Alliance. Like, I feel like I would love to bring the name back. It fits.
Yeah.
And obviously there's already the chatter of, with what happened with Becky tonight. Now she can work with her husband, which I don't care to say. I didn't think it worked the last time they did together. My one buddy kind of half jokingly but meaningfully says she almost killed Seth's career the last time. So, but we'll see. But yeah, no, I think there's a very strong potential, but I want it to be called the Dangerous Alliance.
So I would love, we could do a whole show just on this, and there will be time to talk about this group specifically in the coming weeks, I'm sure. But let's dive into what the wrestling world's been talking about. John Cena's 17th title win, and kind of it's very mixed reviews, right? Some people absolutely love everything they saw last night. Other people were left scratching their heads. I was one of those included. Not so much that Cena won, right? My issue is not that John won. I'm happy John won, right? Fine. You're going to have him break the record. I really had this epiphany all weekend long when you were hearing some people say, oh, I looked up to like Tori Wilson, or I looked up to Trish, or I looked up to, Cena or Randy or Batista. Like, these are people I grew up watching. Now I feel like how, like, my dad's generation and all them felt. Like, the people that grew up in the 80s started when John and Randy and all those guys started. That's how they felt. So I really had this epiphany of like, okay, it's a passing of the torch. It's, separating us from that long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away bit. Right. But the biggest thing that stood out to me was you turned Cena heel. I have no problem with that. But you used The Rock to do it. And for what, 8 weeks? We never saw The Rock. We never heard The Rock. We never alluded to The Rock. And then night of WrestleMania, right? The Rock's in some of the packages for different things, but we still don't get The Rock. Instead, you send down Travis Scott, who polarizing figure in of himself, right? I'll give him a little credit. He did take the Crossroads, right? Fine. And he ate it. He ate all of it. But you don't, why put The Rock in that spot to turn Cena heel if you know you're not going to have him for WrestleMania? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a legitimate question. Somebody answer.
I mean, I don't think anybody has the answer. That's what's so frustrating about it, right? So, like, there's not really a logical explanation behind it, right? So, like, to me, if The Rock was never, unless something came up, which it doesn't seem to be because I think he's filming, it seems to me like the only reason you needed him to, you really could have held off the Cena heel turn until Mania and build it as face versus face, respect the guy who used to drive me around and blah, 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 and then pulled off the heel turn and still had a massive, massive effect. So, like, that's what I'm confused on. And then we talked about it, though, right? You really didn't hear very much about The Rock other than a couple jabs by Cody. But there was never an explanation, not even close to an explanation.
Mm-mm. And I think everybody has sent me this. It's from X. It's Humble Wrestling, and this was posted.
Twitter, guys, just so you know.
Huh?
I said that's Twitter, just so you guys know.
Oh,
Nobody calls it X; it's Twitter.
Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to be somewhat legitimate.
For us old folks, it's called Twitter. Damn it!
Fight me. There it is. This was posted last night, shortly after Mania goes off the air. I actually believe in the theory now. Big Dwayne just shows up on any random night on a WWE show, so the writers have to write something for him so that he's happy without any guarantee that he's coming back to finish the story. Triple H must hate him because there's no mention of him in that 8-hour speech he did at the Hall of Fame. And while there's some satire to this, right, because it is a parody account, you know, I think everybody last night had the same feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It was Rock was just in Toronto. We gave him something to do to be a catalyst. And if there was, everybody's talking about he did the 3 at Bad Blood, the 2 at Elimination Chamber. Last night should have been the 1, unless you're going to use that one to screw over The Rock. I mean, not The Rock, to screw over Cena. But then I have more questions. What the hell are you doing at that point?
I mean, the whole weekend, or at least yesterday, and even including this morning with John, it's been so cringe with him as a heel. It hasn't been felt like a true heel, because he wants to celebrate the 17. He wants to celebrate, his win. He cracking that smile and trying not to crack it, going up the ramp, trying to, not want to celebrate it. It just, to Chrome's point, it should have been, I don't know, it probably felt like it could have been, done at WrestleMania or after WrestleMania.
I mean, I concur, like, to kind of Chrome's point, and me and you had talked about it, Ritz, where, once again, the night 1, night 2 main event, complete polar opposites. Tonight, we thought Heyman set it up on McAfee's show that they were going to get answers. He comes out to the ring, ain't no answers. It's physical on site. Ever since Cody said it's on site when I see you, and it was never on site. They promoted 2 weeks later the start of the European leg of the tour in Raw. They're going to be under the same building for the first time since Elimination Chamber. No physicality whatsoever. I almost feel like they're giving Cena too much say in what he wants to do. And honestly, to take Chrome's part further, I would say, all right, let's have EC, let him Elimination Chamber, let Cena wins. Rock, Travis Scott come out, do what they need to do. He says, whatever. I think he said F you, Rock, or whatever.
Rock, fuck yourself.
Go. Right. Have Rock and Travis Scott at that point start working Cena, working Cody over. have Cena come in with the save, and then like Chrome said, face, you have Cole or whatever show they're on, you have the announcers kind of hit. Like, he had this losing streak. He wants to get 17. That's the whole reason why he's doing this. And you make him then seem desperate, right? Don't turn on the fans yet. And now you can still do everything he did last night, or even have Travis Scott was useless, but even have Travis Scott just hit Cody, hit an AA, pin him, and then Cena, the old Cena, would never take that win. It would be too hollow. But he takes this win, like Butter said. You get him to celebrate number 17. Everybody's into it, and then slowly but surely, he's doing everything in his power to hold on to 17. Like, this dude, literally, I forget what rating it was. It may have been the last one, 16, where he won it at EC, then he lost it at Mania, if I'm not mistaken. Who did he lose it? Was it AJ? Was it?
He won it. He won it from AJ at the Rumble.
Okay.
And then I think he lost it at Mania.
Or did he lose it at EC? And then that when Randy won it, or Bray won it, and then Randy beat Bray at Mania?
I think that might have been it.
But see, like, so that type stuff to where he should be not so much heel turning his back on his fans, but the real human element of the part. Like, he knows he's on his way out and he wants to go out on top, and he's willing to do anything in his power to do so. Like, from the fact that they never changed up his look, never changed. If you weren't going to do all that, then build it face to face. WrestleMania 6, like the fact that we had the guy who ended a 1,316-day reign, who you built 2 manias around, and arguably the greatest of all time, and you come away from that, like SJM said, you come away from that feeling empty. That should never happen. That should never happen.
I think you're just overcomplicating it. I think it's this simple. If Rock wasn't going to be at Mania, you don't need Rock at Elimination Chamber. You could have went this entire, I think you way overthought all that.
Say it one more time.
Yeah, you just didn't need Rock there. I mean, I think you just way overcomplicated it. Like, Rock doesn't. I love a good Rock appearance. I love a good Rock inclusion. But if he's not in, if he can't be there, then it's not necessary.
Like,
we get enough of it at this point.
I said it last night. You know, I had Jax came over. We watched WrestleMania together, and I thought about Cena's run, this heel run he's had so far. And the crowd, number one, the Vegas crowd, did not do this any favors. They were great. The Vegas crowd was great. I'm not knocking them at all. But cheering him Friday night, cheering him Sunday night, it made it really hard. I don't want to say to hate him, right? Because that's not the correct term. It made you go back and you go, you know what? Wait a minute. Everything Cena's been saying has been right. He's not dogged the fans for doing anything other than, for 20 years, you guys were dicks to me. I gave you everything that I had. You guys were absolutely atrocious to me. And on my way out, I'm at least going to bring it up and say, hey, you know what? Y'all suck. I'm going to go do this for me, not for you, for me, because you guys were never truly with me.
That's all very fair, well, and good. And like Chrome said, the only reason I bring up the Rock is because they included him, right?
100%. But I was thinking
that's
in my
what
head.
I was saying, though. If you were going back to the point where Rock was included, like you were like, well, even if you include him, then you can book it. No, there's none of that. Don't include him. You know what I mean?
Like
unless he's going to be a Mania, don't include him. There's no way to get around.
You can do the whole Elimination Chamber bit 1,000 different ways, number one, without The Rock. Number two, Cena can still come out 2 weeks later in Brussels and destroy everybody verbally like he does.
Yep.
And you do all of this without The Rock.
The only way you could have included Rock in Elimination Chamber and not had him at Mania is if where Cody says, hey, Rock, go fuck yourself. That's it. He leaves. It looks like a feel-good moment. You end the pay-per-view there. Have Cena turn at Mania, and Rock doesn't even need to be included.
Nope.
And then the night after he reveals, or in some way,
I did this for me.
that there was an involvement. There was a conversation had with The Rock, and it made him realize if you want to put him with Rock, but it didn't
Right.
need to happen. That's the only way is if you left it right where he says, "Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself." Rock gets Travis Scott. They kind of back out as Cena and Cody have a good moment in the ring, and but you learn later that was not genuine and that John Cena intended to set this up all along.
Like you could have done something on the post-show of Elimination Chamber where you saw the two of them talking like in the far distance of a camera shot of like a Kathy Kelly interview or something.
Yeah, you could do like some footage or something like that.
And then you play that you kind of keep mentioning that, and you let Cena show a little frustration here and there with the fans and with Cody and with all these
Like
different
cracks
things.
in the armor.
Yeah, leading up to WrestleMania. He wins last night. He walks up the ramp because he doesn't celebrate. He's like, nope, I'm not celebrating. You do WrestleMania exactly the same, right? You have him come out to no frills, no nothing, right? You have him put on a match where, and somebody said on the post show last night, he went out there and just got the job done. He went out there and beat Cody and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like and it wasn't until I heard that line where I was like, man, this match is slow. This match feels clunky.
Oh, see, I loved it though because I knew that was the story he was telling. He can't wrestle, right? So he doesn't give a shit. He's not gonna appease the fans.
And I think
he's just gonna beat him slowly and methodically.
I think when by the time that match comes around, one part of me was exhausted.
Sure.
And the other part of me was just like I said it before you guys came on. I had engrossed myself so much this year because I actually got to watch and listen to the commentary and go back to being a fan for a weekend that I didn't even put those pieces together until the post show when I was thinking about, oh, we should go live. We should do this right now. Right? And so I'm like, man, this match it's not smooth. It's not clunky. Cody feels like he's really having to slow down and it's noticeable and like all these different things as you're watching it to where then after the fact, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to go ahead. I wanted to get 2 points in on two things you said. First of all, it is a tale of two matches. And I will even go as far as to say the Travis Scott inclusion would not have been as bad if he didn't get a 5-minute entrance. That was
God.
I could tell you from people who were in the crowd that I know that went to the event, as annoyed as they are just to have him involved, they could overlook that. But the 5-minute entrance took the wind out of the crowd at that point.
It took the wind out of us at home.
He should have come down with Cena if that was the case.
But I'm saying you could tell there was a difference in the crowd too, and I do think the crowd, the way that they react, also has an effect on how engaged you are when you're at home. So I think the other thing too is it's hard for me when Cody Rhodes has taken the punishment and the manipulation, and he's taken spears with the thumb thing that Solo does. Samoan Spike. He's taken chair shots. He's done this and that, and like kind of just like a nut shot and a title belt after taking 4 AAs, including 1 super AA.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike. Talk about killing a move.
And then on top of it, well, I don't care about. I mean, John Cena doesn't give a shit if they kill that move at this point. He's a heel. People kick out of heel finishers all the time. If he was regular John Cena, he'd get him after 1 AA. It's just the way it is.
I've never been a fan of that.
But it is. But it's just how they tell the stories. But like, again, to go back, like, I think that just was what made it so anticlimactic, right? I think Cody holding the belt for as long as he did, it made him look stupid. And my buddy made a point. He had no problem doing any means necessary to take Kevin Owens out. But all of a sudden with John Cena, you have an internal confliction. This very bizarrely.
Oh, don't forget the tug of war.
Correct. But I do want to the tug of war always happened. Honestly, he should have just did the tug of war and just hit him.
Yeah.
But the other thing I want to go back to you saying, the Vegas crowd, right? I disagree with you in terms of John Cena because and I said this before he actually said it, but it is true. He doesn't have to be happy. Like he said tonight, just because you're smiling tonight means I have to treat you differently? No. You could smile all you want. I still think you guys are pieces of shit. And I think that, like, it's perfect. It goes with the character. If anything great came out of this, it has been the build of this specific character. What I worry about is, and I only slightly worry about it, I'm going to monitor over the next couple of weeks, is the turn of a crowd on Cody Rhodes. I truly believe in my heart it's because people just wanted to see Cena get 17, and he happened to be the guy there.
In his way.
And that, if he takes a month off or something and he comes back, I think that he will be fine. But I will be curious, because if that does have carryover, that could be an issue for them, because that's the face of your company.
Right. Well, did they make Cody look too weak last night
with that finish? And I worry with the finish if it was that crowd specifically, or just that they wanted to see Cena win 17, or are they really turning on him? It only really started about a week ago.
Well, it was, and I said it last night too. You don't see Cena until you get to Europe, and Europe boos him out of the building for 3 weeks straight. And then you don't see Cena again until you get to Vegas, and Vegas popped for Cena, right? And Europe popped for Cody and Vegas booed the hell out of Cody. Something happened, whether it is just, again, the fact that Cody was in the way for 17, or to y'all's point, Pete and Chrome both, right? Did this whole story, did this whole match, did the build for this kind of hurt Cody long run, right? Did it set him up to be like almost like how Cena was, how we all, and somebody I think said it too, how we all treated Cena way back in the day when we were getting fed Big Match John every other pay-per-view and he was winning the title every other pay-per-view.
I just think I've been trying to see over the last couple of days, and just seeing how engaged people are in the entrance still tells me we still love Cody. We still are, we're in on his shtick. But then when it came to anything involving Cena, they started booing. But like everything before that, him coming out and doing the whoa, the whole crowd gets into it. I didn't see a difference in that. And that's why it leads me to think, leaning the way of people just really wanted Cena to get 17, particularly as a heel, because you've never seen a John Cena heel world title run.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. But at the same time, I keep going back to outside of last night, the actual match. The physicality was very lopsided, right? It was the beat down to EC, and I keep going like you said, Chrome. What he did to KO, every time KO came out, he was in the crowd. He was in the crowd for what KO did to Orton, somebody else. They laid you down face first and whooped you. Like you had a ruptured eardrum from a rapper. You see what I'm saying? And you said the two words on site. And I don't know what shifted behind the scenes, but then it almost felt like they wanted to slow it down. I love the way Cena worked the match last night. He was slower, more methodical as a heel. I like you said, Chrome, Cody's on kind of sketchy thin ice, because where do you go for like you can't buck up now because you don't have your title. You know what I mean? Like, and how many got some? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think, Pete, you said it the best. I think it was you that said it. How much input did Cena have here into what he was doing, and how much of that was, and I don't know if it was necessarily intentional, but how much of that input is going to affect Cody long run, where John just could have come in. Cody could have done the job, and you get your 17. You walk away. You protect the future of the company, right? Because I do think we're all kind of right. We did hurt Cody a little after last night. You tried to make him strong by having him take 4 AAs, a super AA, 10 minutes in the STFU is what it felt like. Being dragged all over the ring.
I love that though. See, I love that.
No. I'm not saying it in a bad way. I thought
the music hit. It was like I didn't think it felt like 10 minutes. I felt it was appropriate. He's wearing. For a second, I thought they might do the pass out.
The third time he dragged him all the way to the corner, I was like, all right, this is too much. Because that second time, I don't know if you guys caught it. He pulls him dead center. It is the perfect shot for Cena to just have him pass out right there, dead center of the ring. I'm like, all right, cool. Match is over. I look over at the clock. It's only 9:30. We still have half an hour of this bastard.
Right.
And then the ref bumps happen. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get something. Do you know what I mean? And I think I was just a little disappointed that all we got was Travis Scott. And you didn't even have Travis Scott like at ringside. What they should have done is they should have shown Travis Scott at ringside like 30 minutes before the match, and then have him jump the railing and get involved at that point.
Yep. I mean,
right, you could have given him a special entrance if you wanted to, because he did the theme song. Ashlyn goes, "What the heck was Travis Scott doing there?" Anyway, he did the theme song for Raw. He does the theme song for Raw. He did the theme song for WrestleMania.
He's technically been a part of the storyline. So
yeah, and he's been a part of the story. She doesn't watch all the time, so I got to give her a little bit of credit.
Okay, I don't hate it until you give him a 5-minute entrance.
Yeah,
and there's no Rock. If Rock was there, it would have been right on brand, perfect.
Yeah, because Rock would have said, "All right, no, come on, let's go. We're gonna have a little pep in our step." Now this man just strolled down like he was shopping at the grocery store.
I mean, Cody didn't, and then I don't think in the build, Cody mentioned Travis not wanting to get back on Travis Scott. You know what I mean? So that part of it is just I kind of like what we're seeing from Cena. I think this is probably going to be the worst that we see of his run, and I think him and Orton are about to make gold. But
I truly Randy Orton put a beautiful tweet out.
Yeah, I truly believe.
Was it the hello old friend?
Hello old friend, and the picture and the angle the picture is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's perfect. When Randy came through, right? I'm like, all right, somebody's gonna come out, because the one downside to the Raw after WrestleMania, as soon as somebody says there's no one in the back that can blah 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 blah,
right, you know somebody's coming out,
and we saw that so much throughout the night. Somebody's coming. But when it was Randy and he did I call it the gliding RKO, just flies through the air, catches and drops them, I exploded. I freaked out because this is what I wanted for John's last WrestleMania. I mean,
what
was very
perfect.
vocal.
Cena turns around as he gets grabbed, you hear him go, "Shit!" Did you catch that?
No,
I did say that.
As he grabs him, literally as he grabs him,
so
he goes, "Shit!"
I legitimately think it's because I screamed Randy so loud.
Yeah.
I missed all of that.
Randy!
But this is what I wanted for Cena's last WrestleMania, because in my head, this is Cena's, as far as what's with the company still, this is Cena's greatest rivalry.
We talked about that back when he announced this farewell tour.
Exactly.
Orton and Cena, or I would have settled for Punk and Cena as well.
Yep.
But Orton,
I think he still would have gotten.
Do they have any PLEs in Chicago anytime soon?
I think you're still going to get Punk and Cena at some point.
I do too.
I would have honestly liked for Orton to be his last opponent.
I mean, I think by the end of this, we're getting the farewell tour the last couple of months. My gut says he holds the title to some, unless they really want to push the limit on is he going to ruin professional wrestling and all of that. I feel like he might just have a run and then drop the title, and then you have okay, guys, like we're on good terms again, and then you get the farewell tour the last month or two.
And I think, was it you guys again? There's
the countdown was tremendous tonight too, by the way.
Yes, I was about to say the date countdown was amazing.
That was beautiful. There have been so many different wrestling chat groups conversations over the weekend, so I apologize. I don't know who sent it to me, but we got the clip of Cena on the McAfee show when he was talking about ruining wrestling. That segment where he goes, "I'm not ruining wrestling. Wrestling will still go on. I'm ending this era of wrestling. We're wiping the slate clean. We're starting over.
New lineage."
If any of that had been brought up in the build to all of this,
you didn't need Rock.
You didn't need Rock for it, right? Because you're almost saying, fuck Rock. Screw all of that. And it's also, poetically, right? If you really think about it, it's finally closing the door on the Vince McMahon era. It's like that last nail in the coffin, I guess you could say, if you really wanted to get, really more poetic and more higher level.
Right.
I got a shift that's raining.
And so, if you would have done that on the show, I think you do a better story. And I want him to walk away with the belt, because I think you hit the reset button on the title. You bring out a new
title change, like a title.
Yeah, like
design.
you almost and again in that group somebody said, well, haven't there already been, every possible title design you could go with? It's still, no matter what you go with, it's still going to look like that title. And I say no, because unless you go back to like an old school NWA 10 pounds of gold, like how Cody carries the title, he carried it like he would carry the 10 pounds of gold, right? Just kind of in a sling on his at his side.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love that, and especially if we are going into more this Cody Rhodes-led era, this new generation, this up-and-coming talent, this truly new era, really hit the reset button and take us somewhere we've never gone before. Get away from the big square titles, the big round titles, and simplify it. Make it a little bit smaller.
Well, I think you want to get more of a round title, maybe an homage to some sort of round wing eagle or something like that, possibly. That's a perfectly good opportunity in this run. It's just, as Cena aside, it's just, I don't think Cena's longest reign has ever come close to what Cody's was. 300 over a year at all, ever, at any point. I think his longest reign may have been his first reign after he beat JBL at 21.
Yeah, because he got to the Rumble, and that's when, Elimination Chamber. And
Elimination Chamber, and that's when Edge cashed in on him.
Yep.
But it's just I just don't, like, I feel like Cody took too much of a backseat. Like, we've been sitting here saying, obviously everybody knows it. It's been Charlotte and Tiff, Charlotte and Tiff, Charlotte and Tiff, Charlotte and Tiff. I wouldn't say this happened intentionally, but by proxy, like, I don't feel like Cody stood on business enough. Like, I fought for this for 2 years. You don't even know, like, when is the last time you lost a match like this that give him that cocky edge, even still being respectful for the dude you drove the car for, and make Cena question himself. Make Cena question if he can actually do it. And then when he realized he can't do it, then you had this turn into John Gringo Guerrero, bitch, lie, cheat, steal. You feel what I'm saying? And then you give me everything else. But
sorry,
no, you're fine. But it's real, and I kind of see why they.
All right, so sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You mentioned John's title run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm actually doing a little research here, and Cody's title run was 378 days. John's title run, that started in September of 2006, went 380 days.
Okay.
And he only vacated it due to injury in October of 2007.
Is that when he tore his tricep?
I think so, because that's when the title was awarded to Randy. I think so, yes.
That'd have been the only time he'd have given up his title. I think that's his only injury.
Because that's when he came back as 30 at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I do think so. Yeah.
And then that's when we got. Was that the triple threat year where we got Randy, Trips, and Cena?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's a different time. It's just weird. It feels. I felt like him breaking an all-time record that has stood the test of time. I don't know. It's weird. I get the character. I get what he would, but like Chrome said, this last couple months, do we get a full circle? Like, what does that look like? Because has he come so far that there is no point of return? Like, what can trigger him to see that the fans were there for him, right? Like, what can or who can trigger him to, I was wrong about this.
I mean,
Or
that's
just
the beauty of it, though, right? There's
Yeah.
a whole lot that can happen.
Yeah,
Because
that is true.
I will say they've done a great job with Cena's promos, especially. I think tonight might have been his best promo of the whole program, right? And I think Cena alone will be able to tell that story when the time comes, because I do think it'll come post SummerSlam.
Mhm.
But I do want to move on, if everybody's okay moving on from Cena and Rhodes. And I want to talk about night one. I want to spend a little bit of time on night one. I don't want to go match by match. We'd be here all night. And right, as fun as that would be, I don't know if I can do it. Jey Uso and Gunther kick off night one. Jey obviously wins, takes the World Heavyweight Championship. You have that really awkward spot tonight with him, Sami Zayn, and Jimmy. Like, they really felt like, all right, they're going to have Sami kick the teeth down Jay's throat, and that's going to be his next feud. And then it never happens, and then Jimmy walks out, and nothing happens. How do we feel about Jey winning the title? Obviously, Gunther's new feud gets set up tonight, which I loved. How are we feeling about these
Well,
two?
we think it's set up. We don't know 100%,
Right.
right? Pat could be just taking a break. I hope not.
It could be a good way to not have the show tomorrow, the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, Pat can't talk, blah, blah, blah. I will say, his boys jumped that guardrail like it was nothing. They
Loved
were
it.
up and over.
Yep.
But how we
Jimmy
feeling?
was-
Jay's champion. How do we feel?
I'm loving it. He deserves it. He can finally truly call himself main event Jey Uso. Match was great last night. The ending was, perfect. Hitting Gunther with his own power bomb into, multiple splashes. The only thing I could say is I think Gunther just tapped out too quick.
But that was believable though. You took 3 splashes. One was back first, so your stomach was where we living where Dom gets cheers. Hey, listen, Dom turned face over the weekend.
Yeah, 100%.
And well, let's see where it goes. But that was believable, right? And him being the ring general, he knows that if he can get out of it, he can't get out of it. It's just now, what do we do? And I like Jay switched it up a little bit in the ring. I mean, but truth be told, I was invested in Gunther as the World Heavyweight Champion, but I'm more invested in Gunther now out of that, and he lost after what he did tonight. McAfee's untouchable. He's Switzerland. Like, you don't do that. You know what I mean? So,
Well, it's like Michael
and
Cole said,
Cole too.
What world are we living in that, that they can't say what they want to say, and, the wrestlers attack them when they say something that, they don't like.
And I loved Cole going back to the desk.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I popped for that almost just as much as I did for like the Rusev return. Do you know what I mean? And the crowd lost their mind too, which we'll talk about. But to talk about Jay putting Gunther in the sleeper hold, while I'm not a big Gunther outside of the ring fan, I've become a big Gunther inside the ring fan, and there is a part of me that wishes he would have just passed out. There's just that part of me.
It'd have been a little more believable.
And I don't even know if it's necessarily
So-
being believable.
So, I saw something on it on the internet earlier where people said the people complaining that he tapped out so quickly. Go and look back at all of his matches, at least through his WWE run. We're talking about even NXT UK.
Uh-huh.
Anytime he tapped out almost immediately. It's just something that he's done.
Really? Okay. I don't know if I would have put that together.
I had
some
no
people
idea.
have a
until I
lot of
watched
time on their hands. I'm gonna say that out loud. I love the ice.
They literally
IWC
showed clips
sometimes.
of all of his losses where he tapped out, and he taps out immediately every time.
Who has that just sitting around?
I have no idea.
But
Like you have to, maybe
People in
it's
their
like a
mother's
huge
basement?
Gunther. Maybe it's a big Gunther fan who's watched every match he's ever had. But it is, there is a track record for him where he ends up when he taps pretty quick.
these people need
Right.
to touch
And
their
I
ass.
also think that protects how he applies the move because he doesn't give other people the same respect when he does it to them.
No, that's a fair. See, I didn't know that he had tapped out. I go outside. I didn't know that he had tapped out almost immediately in other instances. So all these things kind of make it a little bit more make sense.
Mhm.
But there's still that part of me that just like you've invested so much time in his WWE run, having the title on him at any given time, and to have him like all the different matches that he's been in, to have him just tap out in a mere matter of seconds to his own sleeper hold, essentially.
It didn't bother me, honestly.
I'm nitpicking.
I felt like this title. I'm a big Gunther guy, but I felt like the damage was done with this title reign, and similar to how I feel about Cody Rhodes now. People were saying, how much damage did they do to Cody? I do think that the most monumental runs and the most support that Cody has gotten is during the chase. So I
Correct.
think take a break with him for a month, bring him back, and similar with Gunther, not that he needs to take a break, but I do think he needs to be out of the title scene. So I'm glad they're not throwing him right back in against Jay. I think a McAfee program could be really good for him. Or maybe he loses to McAfee too, and then now he has a confidence issue and he's gone for a month or two. I almost would bring him back as like a face, like he gets humbled.
I like the McAfee the bit too because I said it. I guess at this point, like I said 3-4 weeks ago, when we've been seeing the emotion from Gunther, that's been some of his best work. And coming back from commercial tonight, seeing Gunther out there confronting Michael Cole about things that Michael Cole had said. One, I'm really glad that McAfee did get involved because sometimes we see those spots and with Michael Cole lately, and they're just bitching the bitch, right? They got a little physical, and then McAfee just punched him, just hit him hard enough, like he broke the hold and just looked at him like, really, dude? Yeah. Right? And it's gonna McAfee's gonna be able to elicit an emotional response from Gunther, and I think bring out the best in him outside of the ring. And I think Gunther's gonna bring out the best in McAfee inside the ring.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing was great. Even Joe Tessitore and coming out half disheveled, like it was perfect though. You know what I mean? It kind
and I wrote, I was like, when they don't tell you, you're gonna be on the call.
Yeah. They just kind of like added to the way that whole thing played out. And you were right with how Michael Cole handled things, and even like you brought up the fact that Boston Connor and everybody jumping the guardrail, Ty Schmidt to come to his aid, and how so like it was so well done. I didn't see faces at first, and I just saw somebody in like a gold jacket running towards them, and I just saw security like tackle somebody, and I was like, holy shit, as a fan, like a McAfee fan trying to jump the guardrail right now. And then I happened to see Boston Connor and what else did I say? Anyway, one of the other guys. And I was like, oh, okay, they're part of it. That's one of it.
Like they got there so quickly. It's almost like when Gunther grabbed Cole, they were all like, nah, this isn't happening. And they jumped with McAfee. Like, that's almost how it felt like. You know what I mean? And I thought it was so well done. And it's so good So good for Gunther coming out of this. Like, if I think anybody that
Right.
lost, like you think about people that lost at WrestleMania, and even some of the people that won, I think this is the best thing that could happen for somebody right now.
It's addition by subtraction, and Pierce really needs to say, all right, this dude is suspended for 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do. Get him
Yeah.
off the TV. You could do the whole McAfee recover thing and do a match SummerSlam.
Yep.
And you have the benefit of you can still keep him relevant because he can do bits on the McAfee show, right? Because he's not suspended from that. He's not barred from there,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
right?
D Butt, by the way, so I was trying to think. Darius Butler. He's the other one I saw.
Oh, yeah.
New Day wins the World Tag Team Championships. I still think that the TLC match should have been here.
Agreed.
Yep, I agree.
I agree.
I think you teased it Friday night with the match not really going off, and then you said that match was next week, and I think that really annoyed people. So going into this, I'm just like, it did lead obviously to tonight, though. It set them up versus Tozawa and Otis, which, by the way, big props to Maxine. That's probably some of her best mic work in a long time.
I think she's getting better.
I do too. That was probably some of the best work she did. But all that led to Rusev return. I went ballistic. I wish he would have come out as Miro, but either way, he's back and he's set to go on a tear again.
Mm-hmm.
Jade Cargill, Naomi.
It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Jade
Could have
Cargill
stalled on
getting her
Raw or
revenge.
SmackDown. Could have had that on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, I don't know if this was WrestleMania worthy. I didn't hate the match by no stretch. I thought they did a very, very good job.
Fine.
I just don't know if this was something that I would have put.
There's other stuff that could have been on the card.
Correct.
I think
should have been on the card.
You mean like Chelsea Green?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you put Lyra Valkyria on the card.
Even over Chelsea, I would have put the tag team. To me, the tag team title was the first.
Oh, yeah. The spot they could have had in that TLC match. But I will say that Jade Naomi was cool and could justify putting on the card if you had Naomi going over. That would have shocked everybody. But to give a showcase for Jade when she's already physically imposing, that could have been on SmackDown or Raw.
I don't think it matters who wins. I really don't. I don't see either. I don't see Naomi going. And to me, it's what kind of a WrestleMania surprise moment is that? I don't care. I'd still say, all right, I could have seen that on SmackDown. Like Naomi's had WrestleMania moments. So I mean, to me, Jade had to win this match.
The only way this would have made more sense is if Bianca had gotten involved. And I said this 2 weeks ago. I said
still
it last
didn't need
week.
it on Mania. They could do it
but I say makes sense for it to be on Mania if you're going to intertwine the matches, because they said on the Countdown show, I think on Sunday, right, that Bianca Belair was really the bridge between the Naomi Jade match and also the triple threat match.
Yep.
So if you would have intertwined them in some way, shape, or form, I think it would have made a little bit more sense, kind of told a bigger story there.
I think that's what you're going to get now, though, because people forget.
Yeah, but that's where Chrome is 100% right in the fact that it didn't need to be on WrestleMania.
Yeah, like I don't even know why we're talking about it this much. What I'm saying is like it's almost like we're trying to justify ways it could have been and it should have
probably.
You know
so
what
let's
I mean?
move on.
Yeah, let's do that.
Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight.
One of the best matches of the weekend.
100%.
Yep.
I'm very glad that Jacob won. I don't know if you guys caught it. He does a reel for WWE, and he puts LA Knight over, which I thought was very classy of him to do that.
That's great. He should.
It was very.
LA Knight looked like $1 million in a loss here.
Yeah, they both looked fantastic.
It's the old, and they say it a lot on LFG, but it's the old. It's not about who goes over; it's who gets over. And I thought both guys got over in this match.
Yep.
Correct.
Great match.
El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix.
I was underwhelmed by this match. I thought I was going to get one.
I don't even know if I was underwhelmed.
I just figured you'd involve Triple H.
You got a
for little
moment,
more.
though. You got a 540. I don't know if El Grande Americano meant to do a 540, but we got a 540 out of it.
I thought the moves were really cool.
Especially Ray Phoenix's walk across the rope kick.
Yeah,
oh my God, he kicked it. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, well, he does that in AEW. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a move we've seen. It's tremendous. I think
it's a move Andy hasn't seen.
I know. He got his stuff in, and I give him credit because he stepped in this last minute, and like you're a guy who barely speaks any English, who now works for the biggest company in the world in your trade, and you're there for like 3 weeks, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, here you go. You're on the main card."
And with the acquisition of AAA, which huge news on Saturday.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
I think this El Grande Americano and what's the guy's name? Vikingo or
Yeah.
Isn't
You
he?
got it right.
Is he their world champion?
No, Alberto Del Rio is.
Yeah,
oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to lead to something at that Worlds Collide event. And it's going to be one of the first kind of things they set up.
Can you imagine if Del Rio's a part of that?
As soon as somebody told me, I think Butters is the one that told me that Del Rio was their champion, I went, well, how the hell is that going to work?
We're going to say, well, they own it now, so they can
let his ass go.
I did see a report today that Jeremy Borash is going to be running a lot of the creative with AAA.
I love that. I've always been a Borash fan.
Good.
Same. He's paid his dues through Impact and TNA.
Yep.
And then all the internet stuff he's done for WWE up until what he's been involved with lately. 100% he deserves.
When they made the announcement, I think I texted you guys. I wonder if this is what it felt like when news would break of Vince buying a territory back in the day, and knowing that you've got this amazing partnership with TNA. You bought AAA, right? Like, you're trying to be a superpower and run the other guy out of business.
Well, I think there's a difference between the word acquire and purchase, in my opinion.
Fair.
Not. You acquire.
Yeah, I think acquire is almost like, let's see what these guys can do on their own with more money behind them and more exposure behind them.
No, they own it. They bought the company.
They own the thing.
No, don't get me wrong. I
look at the verbiage with TNA. There's a partnership. Look at all the verbiage that we have a working partnership. If that was what it was, where they're giving them money or they're giving them talent, it's different. And an acquisition is an acquisition. When I worked for Commerce Bank and then TD Bank North bought us, they acquired Commerce Bank.
Here. Well, I'll end this all. Vince McMahon. He said I now own, but he acquired the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He said that word. I think he said I own my competition. At some point he used the word acquired.
Yeah, he used the word acquired, but I thought the line when he's going like this was I have acquired. It's no, I now own WCW. But that he owns it. It's his.
Yeah, TKO is now the owners. And I think the company is running
same shit, different verbiage.
Right.
Carlos
goes,
like
I think AAA is still going to be running it. It's just now under the TKO umbrella.
Oh, yeah. But Carlos goes, do you think Seth Rollins' group are aligned with The Rock? I'm going to wait to answer that. Give me a few weeks.
I don't think so.
Give it a few months.
Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair.
Probably worst match of the card, in my opinion.
I mean,
Really?
I don't think the match was that bad. I definitely think that there were some potatoes thrown in there and receipts thrown in there.
Yep.
They both looked a little beat up coming out of that.
Like Tiff's face at the end was like, "Thank God this is over."
Well, I mean, you could see she had a mark on her friggin' face during the presser after.
Yep.
I thought she had busted her teeth till she posted that pic saying all my teeth are fine. I'm just a little busted up in the face.
I enjoyed the match. I thought it I won't say it even told a story. It was good. It was fun to watch, right? I think Charlotte you could tell there's a little rust still
Mhm.
with Charlotte, and there were moments where it almost felt like Charlotte was trying to go into business for herself on that. Even though they did a great job with her interviews leading up to it, where she was like, I just, we just want to go out there and put on a good show and this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, they felt really, I don't even know what the word is, but
Forced.
kinda,
I
I guess you
mean,
could say.
I'm glad they kind of leaned into it, but I don't know if I think Charlotte went into business for herself. It was just hard to have a promo like that, and then they acknowledge it the week before. It was just
No, I mean in the match, it
no,
felt
but I'm
like
saying, but the timing was just off. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like we said, this is
Yeah, they're
another one
both
that
having some timing issues in that match.
right. They kind of dropped the ball on this, like Chrome said last time he was on. I think he either said it when he was on, or we said it in the chat. It's like you never had to turn Tiff face just because she can't. Everybody doesn't like Nia. You know what I mean? And this is another one. Like, this is supposedly the all-time greatest woman wrestler of all time, and then you the old person, I'm the new person. I'm just going to talk down to you. You can sit here and say whatever you want. I got 14 times this, that, and the third.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you won't look like me, whatever. And that's just another. And I don't know if it would have led to a better match per se visually, but maybe a less clunkier personal to react slide in my DM shots.
I think we're like totally glossing over the biggest issue with this match. And I know people in the crowd who had the same issue. Do we not coordinate who wears what at WrestleMania?
Oh no, I
where
was
they
going to
look
get there.
like they're wearing the same exact fucking outfit?
I was going to get there.
My
We
buddy
talked
said in the
about that
crowd.
Saturday night.
My buddy said in the crowd, a lot of people in the crowd started losing track of which one was which during the match because you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
But they've done that a lot through this feud, where they've really dressed them both very similarly, and I think it was the highlight that these girls are compared to each other often. I think I would like to think there was more to that than I think people initially gathered. And I also don't think that it played out as well as WWE would have wanted it to.
No, I just don't think it was well.
Regular Barbie versus Blue Barbie? I don't know.
I don't think it was well, or I think it was just overlooked.
Do you think that if one of them did that to be spiteful? First question. If so, who do you think?
It'd be Charlotte the one being spiteful. I mean, Tiffany's always wore pink.
I mean, Charlotte's worn pink a million times too. I don't think that has anything to do.
Charlotte's worn all colors. Tiffany's worn 90% pink. I mean,
so she has ownership of the color pink, Butters?
No,
what are you talking about here?
I just think Charlotte just did it to be spiteful. I'm just saying.
No, I just think that there's idiots out there who they didn't worry or they didn't take the time to make sure that these two were not dressed the exact same way. Period. I think it's that simple.
Outside of the colors, right? It was almost down to the same material.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it just looked way the same. Yeah, it was very weird.
And I'm going to give them benefit. I would like to give them benefit of the doubt because I'm not going to attack, right, like the costume design people. I will. That's where I draw. But me personally, right?
But
that's
at
where I draw the
WrestleMania,
line.
when you talk to people who are in the crowd who pay thousands of dollars to sit in seats and they can't tell who's in the ring, it affects it because again, the crowd experience that you see on television affects the crowd. It affects the experience when you're at home.
Words are hard. You want to try that again?
Well, you're making a really stupid point, and I'm trying to counteract it. I'm trying to get my brain together.
That's your opinion.
This is A2D's Tiff and Charlotte right now.
Ew. No, I will not be compared to Chrome.
Well, I own pink, bitch.
So wait, are you Charlotte because you're older?
Maybe.
I still own pink.
And then I'm Tiffany because I'm
well. That
better,
would also put me in GOAT status. So yeah, that's more fitting.
But
you're right.
I'm better, and I'm the future.
Yeah. Well, you're not better, first of all, and I'm like GOAT status. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. I am Charlotte.
Damn.
I miss this. I miss this so much.
Like this imagine Trips, Doc Hendricks, or Michael's PSAs, the Doc Hendricks name for the past. Imagine this being back there behind the monitor and just being like, what? Who in the world allowed this to happen? And then them coming back through the curtain after the match, and I can just imagine that look on Tripp's face. Like, what? Like, that can never happen again. Like, I'm almost to the point now where I think they're going to put a memorandum out. Okay, moving forward.
Figure out your attire ahead
gear
of time
has to
and
be
coordinate.
checked. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, gear has to be coordinated, has to be checked in some form or fashion. They damn near look like a tag team.
It looked like a tag team.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's almost like with the Usos when you couldn't tell which one was which.
That
called
was,
them fraternal
that was
twins.
awful. That was honest to God. Like, I remember, like, just trying to do reactions to those matches. And I go, I'm not sure. One of the damn Usos is in the ring. I have no idea anymore. I don't think we have to talk about the triple threat. I think we've kind of covered that pretty well. Overall, night one was a very solid night, I think. I think it kept interest very well. I think that it had good pacing, good storytelling. Let's move on to night two. And we start with the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship.
Match of the weekend.
Yeah, man. Like,
Yep.
it's up there. It's up there for me for sure.
Io
You know,
is giving hope to every Japanese star that may come over, because this is what this should have been.
the only thing I will nitpick about this, and I said it again, I said it to somebody over the weekend, because of the size difference between Io and to Bianca and Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Io was very much having to do a lot of the high flying stunt spots.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about Saturday.
But she does that anyway. Like
That's her gimmick. She's the Empress of the Sky.
She's the genius of the sky.
The genius of the sky, whatever.
Stupid.
She even specifically went through it today with the crowd. She's the genius of the sky.
No, trust me, I get all that, but I don't know. It felt very much like
why do they put her in War Games every year? Why do they put her in every ladder match? It's because she's going to do the high spots.
Guys, listen to me. I understand what you're saying, but I felt like that's all she was doing. She wasn't doing anything else. She was either getting tossed around like a rag doll, or she was waiting for these spots. That was my only problem with the match.
So you watched the post, but you watched the post show, right? It was the story they were trying to tell us that she was almost forgotten, right? So the story they were telling was that those two were so at each other that they were basically putting her down, and she had to continually fight back.
Yeah, no, I know. I watched it. I saw it.
Okay.
So,
well, that's the story I'm telling you. You don't have to get all agitated, because I'm telling you why they did that story, of exactly why she worked that style.
Okay.
I just want to know, what match does she not do that?
Every match.
And I'm sorry, Rich, I get it, but you know.
No, it's. I'm not spending any more time on it.
Okay.
I'm not spending any more time on it. It was a great match, though. I did love the way we went from the KOD into the over the moonsault for the finish, and the transition from all of that was very, very clean. I loved that so much, and we saw that on the other triple threat too, where they all kind of hit their finishers kind of in
that was
tandem.
Like one of the best finishes I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
the way they did that.
I thought it was very. I loved it.
Well, not finishes, but the
sequence, right?
It was so seamless.
Yeah, in both triple threat matches, right?
And actually, the women's triple threat match, if you go back and watch, I want to say Great American Bash 2020, when it was Rhea, Charlotte as the NXT Women's Champion, and Io, that match had a very similar finish, where I think Charlotte hit natural selection, or Rhea hit Riptide, and all of a sudden you have Io coming off with the greatest moonsault.
Wasn't that the one where Charlotte had somebody in the figure 8 and she hit the moonsault?
That could have been it too.
Yeah, I think that was what.
I remember Charlotte. I remember a match where Charlotte had somebody in the figure 8, and I think it was Io came in with the moonsault, and that was how the finish happened.
Yeah, I think that was the match.
But I will say I did thoroughly enjoy this match. I thought they set a great pace.
They had a
for
lot
night
of.
2.
It was more than even just that one. There was a lot of different. Everybody gets a spot in where they did like chains of moves, and everything was hit clean. And to the other point of the other women, the power moves that they were doing, like Bianca, who we say sometimes as she's so great and so powerful, but every now and then there is like a flub somewhere. This might be the best match I've ever seen her have.
The only piece that I got really scared on was when they're on the outside, and I think Io went for the Hurricane Rana, and Bianca caught her, but like she almost didn't catch her. And then that first swing into the barricade, I'm like, that we're not ready. We're not ready for this. No. And it's all right in front of Nick Khan too. I'm like, oh man, don't screw this up in front of the boss. I think they set a great tone, and then you go right from that into Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest.
Sneaky, very sneaky good match. Great finish. Maybe one of the best finishes of the weekend.
Still wish that they would have, and I said it, I wish they would have fought around the strip all night long, like throughout the entire.
They should have cinematically shot some of that earlier.
Yes, I thought you set yourself up to do that, and I would not have hated it if you did.
No, yeah, it'd have been great.
Because you do start this early enough, right? You could have it's still daylight outside. You could have shot some things, and done some different spots to where you set yourself up for this, or at least gone out to the concourse or something like that. It was still a good match, very well done. I like that Drew got the win here. It kind of put a bow on a year storyline, and he got that proper comeuppance. I mean, he got that proper revenge.
Fun little story here.
Street fight without no street.
Yeah.
Fun little story here, by the way. It was reported. Damian Priest actually said this after being interviewed by Denise Salcido of Fightful. His entrance, Slayer playing him out. That was set up by the Blue Meanie, Brian Efron, who frequents us here on A2D Radio.
Oh, really?
A month ago, before Mania, Brian and his wife went and saw Slayer and had a conversation with Kerry King, who's one of the members of Slayer. And they just said, it'd be really cool if you played Damian Priest out at WrestleMania. And Kerry King was like, we'll love to do that. He texts Priest. Priest then told Hunter. Hunter told him, if you can set it up, go do it.
Now, I have to ask, because I'm not familiar with that music or that genre or anything like that. Was it just me, or did it sound really weird, those first couple chords he plays? Like I
didn't hear anything weird.
Yeah, that's the tune of the original track. So if you after we go off the air, if you listen to the track, it sounds like that. But the volume, it's like something was off, and it was just like super, super loud, and then he kind of settled it. But I mean, he's a lead guitarist. They have an ego. They're wide receivers of bands. Like they're gonna know.
Well, that's why I asked. I was like, all right, was that embellishment for WrestleMania? Because it didn't. At least in my house with my sound system, that part right there did not sound good.
I think it was probably one of the best entrances of the weekend.
I like the entrance. Once he actually started playing what I know of the song, I loved it.
And the gear too, like the gear.
The gear was really nice. The gear was really good. Dominik Mysterio, Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Penta. First of all, did I miss the memo that we were all cheering for Dom yesterday? Like, what the hell happened?
I think the fans have seen it. Like, they've seen the change, and he doesn't try to talk. He's just kind of playing in the background, and I mean, kind of playing off. He feels like he's getting bullied by Finn. You know, what I mean?
I loved it. Well, I was literally sitting there watching, like, man, these guys are going nuts for Dominik Mysterio.
I mean,
what the hell is happening?
My buddy said he got the biggest pop of the weekend.
I was just about to say, Chrome. I think, like, low key, he got the biggest pop.
Yeah. And like that, and it's always great with the Intercontinental title matches too, right? they always seem to be the ones at WrestleMania. They always seem to be the ones where you take away a lot of the visuals from, where people really get into the matches and the winners. And you saw that here. I thought it was very poetic that you had Dominik pin Finn as well.
Another great sequence, by the way.
Correct.
What was it? Switchblade, Sling Blade, missile dropkick, coup de grace.
Into the frog splash, I think, right?
Are we putting a cheat code in for a video game right now?
Yes, up, down, left, right, A, B.
But I mean, and this is good because now he can justify being a leader of Judgment Day. This breathes new life in the Judgment Day.
I think he needs to drop the Judgment Day period.
I thought that's what we were going to see tonight. I thought they were going to drop him.
It can still happen.
Right, with the J.D. McDonough return and
it'd be a little harder now with J.D. back.
I think it's easier with J.D. back.
I think it's easier as well.
Yeah, I would like to see Penta protect it a little more. I think this is like in 3 weeks he took 2 pins.
You know I was a little surprised he took the pin in this match.
Yeah, like maybe just be a DQ or what have you. He doesn't really need.
Well, he didn't take the pin. Finn took the pin, but
no. Well, yeah, I mean he took the pin, but I'm saying tonight on Raw with Penta taking the pin.
Right.
Again. Right.
All right, so this is probably the moment where I pop the loudest.
Of course you do.
And I'm not going to lie. I scared the hell out of the DoorDash lady that was bringing us the food.
Oh, I popped on this shit, too.
Because, and I even said, I've been saying it all night long. It's like, it's Hendry. As I opened the door to the front door of the house to, like, grab our food, I'm watching the TV, and I saw the doors open, and I saw him standing there. And I lost my mind. And the lady's just like, here are your wings, and then booked it back to her car. As I'm freaking
like, that man is
out.
crazy. I'm never going to his house again.
Exactly. But I'm freaking out because it was Joe Hendry answering the challenge at WrestleMania, which it was a short match, don't get me wrong. But it delivered everything you would have wanted it to be. And Triple H said it best, right? You were planning to have this violent Randy Orton be at WrestleMania, and his 20th WrestleMania, and then Joe Hendry walks out, and he really got to have some fun with it and relax and do things a little bit differently. And we saw that very much in how Randy performed last night.
Right,
and
go ahead, Carl.
Oh yeah, on Joe's side too, right? He got his shit in. He got, whether it was his shtick or a couple of his moves that he does. And I thought the fact that a lot of times you see people come in, and even if they've worked in NXT, the casual and the main roster fans don't necessarily know all of that talent. He's only done a couple of matches there. He came out and might have had the second biggest pop of the weekend behind him.
Agreed.
Everybody knew who he was.
And the entire crowd got into his shtick. And I think that's a huge, huge boost for TNA.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a huge boost for WWE.
Yeah, and like
I will be there. Hunter said it. He told Joe, this is not going to be your first time here.
And I really like that with this whole TNA WWE partnership, TNA really hasn't felt like an afterthought in all of it. It hasn't been one-sided, right? We've said WWE sent talent, TNA has sent talent. They've gotten the rub at the Royal Rumble, but I think it says a lot more. They got the rub at WrestleMania. Not only did your champion get to walk out at WrestleMania and fight arguably one of the best to ever do it, but you got your little lower third on there, your graphic, all of that. You got some eyes on your brand. Your
company's name was enthusiastically announced at WrestleMania with your world champion. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it is go back to when AEW worked with them, right? Mm-hmm. There were moments where you thought it was going to be like a good thing. And then, do you remember, Pete, I know you watched it a lot then. Do you remember those vignettes they would do where on Impact's programming, TK and Shivani would basically run down TNA. Like literally, literally making fun of it on their own program. And it's like, well, we're paying you guys money, so we can do this to put themselves over. It was very weird.
Well, I mean, you're talking about TK, but not just the lower third, not just Joe Hendry, the person himself, but for one, I don't know who set design went into it. The ramp was too long. Entrances were too long, for one. But people in that crowd who were singing this song maybe they didn't even know he was the champion of it, right? Of TNA. And they got to see what the TNA title looks like. And then for Orton, like you said, to have his personality come through, to hit the pose at the end.
Oh my God, I died.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
gave him a pat on the chest as he exited the ring.
Right. Like a lot of this weekend was addition by subtraction. Look at Gunther. Look at Hendry. He lost, right? Didn't really give him a chance to win, but look at TNA as a whole. Look at Braun. Braun lost.
Cena put over Hendry on McAfee too today.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Put him over big time.
Good.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Cena Hendry.
Could you imagine a Cena Hendry match for the title at some point?
Oh God, title for title.
Cena walking out with everything.
Cena's just gonna be walking out collecting belts. He's gonna be the new belt collector. Wasn't that what Kenny Omega was doing? That was his gimmick when they were working. He was the belt collector.
Mercedes did it. You know what I mean?
What do you mean did it? He's doing it now.
But specifically working with TNA at that time, that was Omega's gimmick. Was he was the belt collector? That's why he won their title.
Logan Paul, AJ Styles.
The best thing about this came out with Cross and his promo. That's the best thing that came out.
I finally watched that promo that you guys sent me.
Awesome, right?
At like probably local time for me, like 5 or 6 o'clock. That's how busy my day was. I think I watched it 4 or 5 times because it was so good. And at the point where Scarlett's even like, "Yo, wait, no, you probably shouldn't say that." I'm like, "Oh no, we're cooking. We're cooking with gasoline. We're cooking with napalm." It was an atom bomb.
And he said that's coming from Killer Cross.
Yeah. And then the bit where he's like, "They leaked my fucking contract details online. No, there's no privacy."
Yeah. It was so good.
So we're all in agreement that this was a work.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think it can turn into, because I have a very hard time where I feel like Trips doesn't believe in this dude.
I think it was a work shoot almost.
Correct.
Where they said, "All right, we're gonna give you the time. Go out there and say whatever you want," because he's back to what he was doing Monday night. Like you watch Raw when he confronts AJ and all that. He's kind of more level-headed until AJ walks away and he goes, "Well, maybe I will." Right? And that look you get from Scarlett, it was the same look that Scarlett was giving him. What was that on? Was that on the WrestleMania recap show?
No, it was
on a Sam Roberts thing.
Yeah, it was on a Sam Roberts.
Okay. So, but it's the same look that Scarlett gave him. Of like, are you sure you really want to be doing this? You really want to be saying this? It was perfect.
I felt like this match it didn't meet my expectation, but I had extremely high expectations. But I didn't think it was a bad match. I thought it was a good match. My God, I thought when AJ got him, first I was worried about him doing the Styles Clash. When AJ got him up, his head.
Neither one of them looked
was
like
that close to bouncing off of that.
Yeah, I was telling Jax when Logan caught AJ and went to the Styles Clash, I'm like, no, he's not high enough. He's not high enough. He's not high enough. He's not high enough. Hits it, and I'm like, all right, fine. And then AJ goes to do it, and I'm like, he's not high enough. Logan's too tall. He's not high enough. This isn't gonna work. And it's the one move where to this day I'm like, go back to the Phenomenal Forum. I love the Styles Clash. But go back to the forum. It makes me less anxious to watch you hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, Lyra Valkyria is teams with the returning Becky Lynch to defeat Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. We said Damian had incredible gear. I don't know why. I loved Lyra's gear that she came out with the
Yes.
rings and
You
everything.
like feathers, that's all.
Shut the fuck up. Well, it's better than like the back, like when she has it as like the drape things or whatever. I thought it just looked better. And so at the Renaissance, and what also is at the Renaissance Festival here, there's a person that is there every year, and they have the wings for arms. So like I've always liked that look when you're doing this, whatever the fuck bit you're doing with
You have
Lyra.
wings for arms at home, and we don't know about it.
No,
Well, you see,
no,
He's
I
moving out.
Feathers, random feathers.
Look,
when you go over
you'll
the
you
understand
stand in
this.
his room
Oh
flapping his wings.
no! You'll understand this more than anybody. I spend my money on a mouse.
Yeah, I get it. I liked this last night until I saw what happened tonight.
Hated it.
Exactly.
Hated it.
I hate that it happens. I was okay with it when it happened to Zack Ryder. You want to give him that Mania moment with the Intercontinental title. It was like a dream thing. They wanted to give him that moment. He dropped. I'm okay when it's happened once, but I feel like way too often this has happened where people drop in titles like the next day, like Dolph Ziggler. Why didn't he cash in at WrestleMania? Why did they wait until the next day to do that?
Right.
And I also would have been okay if it wasn't Raquel and Liv. Right? Like
Wait till tomorrow night. They'll probably
yeah,
change
exactly.
hands again.
You do this tomorrow night, and you put the title on Gigi and Tatum, and you have Becky turn on Lyra on the stage where they last faced each other. Right?
Yep.
I'm a little bit more okay here doing it on the NXT stage than I was with them doing it at the Raw after WrestleMania.
Well, this is why that works too, Indy, because now you get more eyes on your NXT program because you're going to show that clip on your main roster program because that's obviously where they're going to continue if the rivalry between Lyra and Becky.
Correct.
Now, if you're turning somebody, and I've heard some people say, "Oh, well, it doesn't necessarily make sense." Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
You can have if you either have Lyra turn because she needs something.
That's what it should have been.
She's too good of a professional wrestler to not turn. Now, if you think she's too nice, whatever, then the only way this works out, the only way that this can work out is if you have a really good feud with Becky and Becky puts her over. But if Becky goes over her and wins the because it can highlight the Intercontinental Championship as well and finally
Correct.
put it in something meaningful. Secondly, you have a chance to really make Lyra as the champ. Now, if they're going to put the belt on Becky, I don't know that Lyra can recover from that.
I don't think so either. I was really excited for Becky and Lyra to be teaming together because I thought the one thing that was kind of missing from Lyra was some depth of character and some personality. And
I think Becky could have helped that.
Yeah, teaming with Becky definitely could have helped that. And it was evident last night at the presser too. She got one question. It was, how did it feel teaming with Becky?
Mm-hmm.
That alone right there could have been reason for her to turn tonight. Right? You turn Lyra tonight. Let Lyra be the heel in this. And let Lyra's first promo just literally bash Becky for hogging the spotlight. This, that,
Right.
and the other thing.
And you literally could have had Lyra defend the Intercontinental title, drop that tonight, carry the tag team title. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could have done it that way.
Because a blood feud like that, if Lyra or Becky turns on each other, that really doesn't need a title. I get it, you can accentuate the title, but there's other people you could have put that IC title on. Like Liv could carry 2 belts, in my opinion, because she has the bodyguard behind her. I remember I said it last time, like, I don't see them keeping 2 belts on Lyra.
I did not think you were gonna say bodyguard there.
Muscle, whatever you want to call it.
I went somewhere totally different with that.
You probably thought about feathers.
I heard all I heard was she got the body for it, and I went.
That's what I heard too.
What in the world?
That's not what you said. I didn't hear that, but I could see how you could. Listen, I have to make a statement about this. Since you guys brought up the post-Mania scrum, can we get some more sensible fucking people in there asking questions already?
Thank you.
First of all, I get it. Becky coming back is a big story. They ask the most generic, stupid fucking questions when they ask them.
I almost
Secondly,
think that's what they're given to ask.
I don't think they are.
No, because I think WWE would want something better.
The other part of it is, because they ask about Vince and stuff, man. You think they're telling them to ask about Vince? The other part of it, I have like we're gonna ask the same question in a different wording the next person after it was already answered, and then to me that is such a disrespect to Lyra Valkyria that somebody almost felt like somebody, and they shouldn't have, gave her a pity. It was a great question, by the way, but it almost felt like a pity question at the end. Because they were more engaged with Rue, their kid, and asked her as many questions or more questions than Lyra Valkyria.
Which, I'm sorry.
What the fuck?
This is not just WWE. This is pressers across the board. Don't take your kid to the press conference.
Fuck no.
Leave the kid in the locker room. Leave the kid with mom, dad, whoever.
I don't always mind it, but it's like anything else. I think kids should be able to participate in things, but you got to control your kid.
Well, and we're already at that point 8.5 hours in to the 9-hour broadcast.
She's like, "Oh, what story do you want to tell them?" Don't tell your kid I'm telling the story. The story time by mommy.
Let me get to John. Let me get to Triple H, and really, I was waiting for Triple H, right? And let me go to bed.
Yeah. I just between that one, it was a shame. And Lyra gave a tremendous answer to a really good question, but it almost, maybe it wasn't, but it felt like a pity question because
she felt like an afterthought.
Well, 3 or 4 fucking morons asked the same question over and over in a different wording, and it's like shut the fuck up.
I like Emily May. I think she.
See, I think I can't stand her. And you want to know why I can't stand her? Emily May. She has it's like she sounds like she's disinterested in being there, or she's stuck up.
Well, and I think it's because we met her, and
she doesn't even say what she doesn't even say what her publication is.
Because she works for 4 or 5 different ones.
Well,
we met her during Mission Pro,
mm-hmm.
and she was very instrumental on who we got on the air. So. She does have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart because
that's good. I still think she's a bitch.
That's
how I think she comes off, and and you know me, I don't ever call anybody that, but I listen to her and I'm like, she comes off like a real bitch. Emily May. That's how she. Emily May. She doesn't even say hi. She goes Emily May and just goes right into her question.
Where was Chris? Where was CVV?
Oh, I'm sure he was there.
But where was his?
He didn't get a mic to ask a question.
Maybe they didn't. I mean, they may not have called on him. I don't know.
But that's my point, though. There were probably more legitimate people you could have called on at the biggest show of the year to ask more important questions.
Yes. They got people from Muscle and Fitness there. Why?
Yeah, I thought that was funny for the John Cena part, though. Like
the whole Cena thing was tremendous.
But it made if they would have asked a question during anybody else's part, I would be right there with you. Why are you there? But I felt
the other thing is lazy too, right? You know that Lyra is handicapped by Root being there, right? So why don't you just ask the question like, what was it like at your first WrestleMania? Because this was her first WrestleMania. She's not getting the first presser ever again. And this is the question that was asked to her.
But instead, Root gets a question before Lyra does.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I don't want to spend any more time on Cena and Rhodes. I do want to bring up Raw after WrestleMania. A couple things I want to do shout out. Obviously, we got the Rusev return. We got McAfee and Gunther. Io Sky. We didn't talk about it during the Io Sky, triple threat match. Io Sky's match tonight with Stephanie was fantastic.
And Stephanie's getting better on the mic, speaking English.
I thought that whole bit was kind of funny. They had to bring Adam Pearce out to make sure everybody was on the same page. Like, hey, we're doing this now, right? But having Roxanne come out, and then seemingly having now a I don't want to say a heel Julia because we got shades of that already, but a Julia teaming with Roxanne. Like, to me, that felt a little more shocking than anything.
I loved it.
I loved it too. I do wish we would have got a finish, like a true finish, because I was enjoying the match between Io and Stephanie.
See, I'm kind of okay. I'm okay with not, because
you protect
both champions are protected, and you save that down the road when there's a really meaningful stake.
Right. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Right. I understand it, but I think it was just one of those things where it's like, damn it.
Yeah, like when they started that match, I never thought that they were. I thought you might get Asuka coming back.
They went a lot longer than I thought they were gonna go.
Yeah, I never really thought that. I knew somebody was going to interrupt that match. I never thought we were going to finish from that. But it really, really made me look forward to the next time we get it, though.
100%, and it makes me look forward to tomorrow night too. Like they did. That was the most subtle way you could have hyped up NXT for tomorrow night, without just flat out having a full on NXT segment.
Right.
Anything else from Raw after WrestleMania that we didn't already talk about?
No, you got JD came back, and obviously you had the Braun thing and the McAfee thing. He really hit it. I thought that Stand and Deliver was really good over the weekend as well.
So about Stand and Deliver, still only 20 years old, man, is mind-boggling. And once he fills his frame out, people don't realize.
Talk about Javon?
6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
Yeah, Javon Evans is unbelievable, man.
I have to go back and rewatch the main event.
Trick may be the worst one in that out of that triple threat. Honestly, he may have the lowest ceiling. Honestly,
I watched the intros to that match, and then I was gone because the Hall of Fame the night before kicked my ass.
Oh yeah, I get it.
It was the Hall of Fame was fantastic, but I literally was like, all right, come on.
They needed just the time for the Hall of Fame.
I was literally waiting till 3 o'clock. I'm like, I'm gonna sleep through the first hour of the countdown. Like that was my plan. I'm gonna take a nap. First hour of the countdown, be ready to go. And I'm dozing, man. Like I'm losing bad. And I wake up as they cut to the back with Stephanie and Roxanne and Ava, and I went, well, I missed all of that.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I think I kind of thought we might get Tony D. I know they still have to do the blow off, but I think Tony D's ready for the main roster, man. I think he's so good in the ring. His look is better now, and I just think it's one of those weird gimmicks, but it works. Some reason it works, and he's so entertaining and he's so good in the ring.
And I think it works because NXT is a little bit smaller. Like, I don't mean crowd-wise. I mean just like that smaller building, smaller things like that.
More intimate feel.
Yeah, so being that Don of the NXT, right, it really holds a little weight. Like, you feel like, no, this man is kind of running the mob down here. I love the tag team match. I love the fact that Hank and Tank won.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fatal.
They dropped those titles.
I kind of feel like you might get Fraxium on the main roster.
I think we're gonna get them soon too. I thought that's honestly, for half a second, I thought that's who was gonna show up during the Otis Tozawa New Day segment.
Same.
I loved the Fatal 4-Way, but honestly, for me, the match I enjoyed the most was that ladder match.
Ladder match was phenomenal. The finish with Sol Ruka hitting the what's her
Soul Snatcher.
Soul Snatcher.
Oh my God, the different ways she hit that in that closing sequence was unbelievable.
Beautiful. But I think
It's
for me
it's
that
arguably
was
the best finish in WWE. It's maybe the best finish in wrestling.
might be.
The pulverizer's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I love the pulverizer. And
Is that the
it
one from
makes me
LFG?
No, the
The
pulverizer is
pulverizer is Logan
Paul's.
Paul's finish. It just looks so good.
It makes me so mad that I admit that I like his finisher too.
Whose finisher is it?
Logan Paul's.
Paul. It's called the pulverizer.
Oh, that one. Okay, all right.
Where he basically like flips them over into a DDT.
It's fantastic.
It's beautiful.
I actually think I love the match, but at some point, like Zarya, I don't know if she feels left behind. Like Baby Girl does an F5 as a finisher, dog. Like at what point are we getting like, you know what I mean? Like it's just, I think right now NXT Women's Division, you just have to be so patient. You're like your turn's going, your chance is going to come. You know what I mean? That kind of deal, because the main roster for women is loaded as well. Like there's 2, 3 years, 4 years ago, Roxanne Perez would have been on the main roster. There's no spot for her right now.
I did not like her walking out on Cora Jade. I think by the end of the night you kind of rectify that, but I did not like her walking out on Cora Jade in that Eliminator match.
Like she was on the pre-show, bro.
Yeah, I you didn't have any other pre-show matches, but you had that one.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it's been a blast being live again. It's been a blast talking WrestleMania with you guys. We still have 2 more.
Yeah, surprise to me. I didn't even know we were going live tonight.
I thought I told you we were going.
Nope.
Live.
Didn't tell me we were live.
Yeah, my bad on that one.
So
My
I popped in and I was like, oh, we're live. Nice.
My bad.
Vinny Max you.
Yeah. Surprise. It almost didn't happen. We still have 2 more Fallout shows, right? NXT tomorrow, SmackDown on Friday. We are getting a big reveal on Friday with that vignette from this past week, which I'm pretty sure is Aleister Black. We will not be on next week. It's our traditional take the week off after WrestleMania week. But different stuff coming down the pipe from us very soon. So stay tuned. 2 weeks, our show will be back to pre-recorded, and we'll drop it Tuesday mornings on HUD's Facebook and YouTube page. But until then, for Chrome, for Pete, for Butters, I'm Ritz. Hope you guys enjoyed WrestleMania weekend. We will see you next time. And until then, tell somebody you love them. Peace, love, and joy. We're out.